Welcome, everybody. Welcome here in Montreal. Today, I want to talk about user visualizations with GA4 data. And there was a lot of bad comments about GA4 and that it's not good and that it's complicated. But today, I just want to look a little bit at the bright side and show things that we can do now with GA4 data that was never possible before. Okay, well, first we talk about journeys today. So I want to talk about my journey a little bit to start with. I'm born in Germany. I was studying in Berlin, and that's a very long time ago. And as Phil already said, I was moving to Montreal, where I was working about 20 years in my own agency until I changed everything around like 2018. I started to do data visualization, something I was passionate for like my whole life. And since 2 years now, I'm working at Supermetrics as the head of data visualization and mainly on data visualizations for Local Studio. And that's from time to time, you can find me in Helsinki. Quick fun fact, if I'm not sitting in front of my computer and do data visualizations, I'm sitting on my bike. And what's better than to combine like two passions into one? So a few years back, I was taking a stop of a Strava. Strava is like an online service where you can log all your outdoor activities. So I was using this software Strava, and I was creating a Local Studio connector. Back then, it was a Data Studio connector. You can use it for free. It's activityexplorer.r42.ca, and it comes with a template that does these visualizations on the right. So it's not bug free because it's a side project, but it's actually quite fun to see like all the biking and running and everything you do like on a visual map. But so this is not what you wanna talk about today. Today we're gonna talk about user journey visualizations, and there are basically two types I want to present today. One is the Sankey diagram that shows an aggregated view of visitor flows. And the other one is a sunburst diagram that actually where you can see like page sequences. And what I'm going to do, there is, if you have like access to the slides, there is a link to a Local Studio template that you can copy and that you can use. And I'm just going to hop over. It's already open. It's this one here. And this is data. This is GA4 data from the R42 website. And there are not a lot of people coming to the site. So, but it's a perfect example just to look a little bit what you can do with the data. So you basically, it creates automatically these Sankey diagrams. And what you can basically see is like people that come, that do visits like from the homepage, where do they go? Like which pages do they visit? And when they're on the contact page, you can actually see that people walk into circles, they don't go anywhere. And so these are basically the two things that this visualization is providing. And because if you have a lot of pages, this might get like really out of control because people actually go from every page to every page. So there's something that's called link limit. That you can then change, and it basically cuts out journeys or paths that users took and they didn't do. And then of course you can do stuff like you can just remove certain pages or not. For example, you could just say I just want to see like these 3 pages, and it's gonna reconstruct. And of course you can also do change the date range. So what we can see here, this is a very small sample, and it also tells you that right now you're only looking into 3 pages, and I can just like move them all back. So the second visualization that we're going to look at today is the Sankey diagram, and there's actually a really nice story behind it. It was like Carrie Rodden that used the sunburst diagram like 10 years ago to analyze data from YouTube, and she basically cut down the whole like all the visits. Like I think she took 1 month of data, and she classified the data into like 6 categories. Like where did people go? Have they been on the homepage? Did they watch a video? Did they go to another website? And then what this sunburst diagram is providing is basically showing you that 85% of all sequences started like here. In this case, for the two side, it started like on the homepage. And then you can see that there's a lot of white space around, and all these are exit pages. And then I can go into the second path, and then it tells me that like 1% of all sequences went from the homepage to the database page. And then I can basically see like how did people actually move through my website. So for very small sites, this is fine to use like the real pages. If you're using bigger websites, and I'm going to show one later on, it always makes sense to cut things down into bigger sections, like you would have like your product section or your corporate section or your organizational section, to see if people stay within these sections or if they walk across, and how do they actually navigate. So it's a very interesting way to visualize data. So let's go back to the slideshow. So now you basically saw what I want to show you, what you can do like today with in Local Studio with the GA4 data. And now there are a couple of steps to get there. So first, what I want to do in this presentation is go over the data requirements, like how do you bring your GA4 data into Local Studio? And then we will look into the configuration of these two visualizations. And I will also show you a case with the larger data set. We're going to look at some sample data from the Supermetric side. And at the end, if there's some time left, I will show you how I did this little text thing that you saw in the report. Let's start with the data requirements. I didn't go in the edit mode yet, but if you're on the setup page of your chart, and I assume that everybody has at least once here tried a community visualization. So they basically work like regular charts. You have like a setup panel and you have a style panel where you basically configure your chart. And so what we need to make this happen, we need a page path or title. So we basically need to know where people have been, what people did visit or users. We need a session ID, and this is actually what makes the difference between UA3 and GA4, that in GA4, if you use BigQuery, we do have a session ID now. And we need the order of the visits, like what was the order that people actually went through the website, and we can now also use a date. And this is something that was like 4 or 5 weeks ago was not possible. So in case someone tried 4 weeks ago this user journey and thought, I don't have to require data, now you can use date, and it makes things a lot easier. And then there's a filter value. This is only required when you filter. Value of the link. I usually use the record count, which is 1. That means every step in a user journey counts for the same value. But if you think, I don't know, paying customers should get like more value, or you want to emphasize on them, then you can also put the dynamic metric in here. And link limit, I'm using a parameter here. What you can do is, so I use it for the slider so that I can give users the power to actually decide how many links I want to show in the visualizations. So this is what we're hunting after. These are the metrics and the dimensions that we need. So now, how do we get them out from GA4? And I'm not going to go into any details here. I think everybody knows this, and I assume that most of you already have the data in BigQuery. If you don't, do it. It's just a great way. It's free. It's not that complicated. There's a GA4 support article. There's a link in the slideshow. It takes a couple of minutes to set it up. It takes 24 hours until your data is in BigQuery, and then you can start working. So once you in BigQuery, well, you get this here. You have a page view here, and you have like this a little bit weird way, like how things are displayed, and this is a nested view. But if you look a little bit closer, we find everything what we need. We have a timestamp, we have the page location, and we have the session ID, and this is what we are after. So now the question is like, how do I use this nested data to get this into Local Studio? And so basically what I did to make you the work as easy as possible, I created an SQL query that is unnesting the data the way you need it. So now a big disclaimer, whatever I show you for the next 2 slides, don't do this on large data sets. I will explain why. So it's just do this on smaller subsets, use a week of data. If you have a big website, use it on a small website first. This is basically just to try out. Because what I basically did is I took this query, this SQL query that I just showed you. I pasted it into BigQuery and I created a view. And then this view I can then use in Local Studio. What it will do every time you load your report, it will execute a query. So if you have like a huge website, it might become costly. The second method that you can do is you can actually take the query and paste it directly into Local Studio. If you take the BigQuery connector, you go into custom queries, you select your billing project, and then you can just paste your query in here. So both methods work fine. They're actually quite fast. But as I said, if you have like really huge websites, don't do it, or at least do it just for yourself and don't share it. So if you want to do it right, you have to create materialized views or use something like dbt. But I'm not the right person to explain you how this works. Like if I need dbt, I go to my data engineers and ask for help. So here we are here to talk about data visualization and not about all the stuff behind in BigQuery. All right, there's one other thing. I gave you this query that I've kind of figured out a little bit on my own with the help with our data engineers. And I think a week or 2 weeks back, there's this GA4 SQL.com that was popping out that has like this visual interface where you can create queries. I wasn't able to do my exact query because somehow session ID weren't there. And I just see that in France, apparently, there is no, like session ID, someone said session ID pseudonymized. I think it doesn't matter what they are, as long as you can say, okay, these are basically steps in the same sessions. It's basically just, it could be whatever ID. It could be even be the user ID, and then you get like the whole journey of a user, no matter like over how many sessions he did this. But here on this website, there's no session ID. I created the SQL query. It's also into the template. You can use it. And I think yesterday, Better Data just published a video that shows a little bit how this website works. So there's a link to the video. I think it's called Better Than Data or Data Better. Yeah, so it's a JJ Reynolds company that created the video. Very nice, just have a look. Very helpful to get this nested data into Local Studio. And then of course, like we need the chart, like where do we get the visualization from? And so basically there are 2 parts. So just a word about this Supermetric charts. It's a commercial library. But what we do is we provide like a free demo version. The demo version has always a little label on top right called demo version, but it's otherwise like fully functional. So you can use it as long as you want. It's not maintained. If ever there are breaking changes, there are breaking changes, but it at least allows you to, like test if this is something that might be helpful in your flow. And then it's sold as an add-on to some of our connector packages. Yeah, so basically what we're going to do, we go to the, or you can go to the Supermetric charts webpage. The link is here. And what I maybe can do, I can just click on the link. If you're on the page, there's a little video explaining how this whole thing works. And then here, there are some of the available charts. And here is the user journey. It's the link to the demo guide. I have it already open. I just want to go very quickly through a couple of things. Just a little note, I have this label here. It's still beta pre-release. Not everything is 100% as I want to have it to be. That's why I have like this little beta release button here. It's mostly about error checking. So if there are like funny values in your data set, it might not work and it's not throwing an error. But this by the end of the year, this definitely should be fixed. Otherwise, this guide here is there to pretty much explain you how things work, what are the different data models, what do you need, and what is your outcome. And also there are pages. It explains the styling, the configuration stuff, and it explains like the different layouts that you can use. So there are quite a few possibilities what you can do with this chart. Okay. So now what we can do, like we have this here, and then what's important is this what's called the manifest path. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to copy this manifest path. I go back into this template here. I go into edit mode. There's the community visualization button on top. I go into explore more, build your own visualization, and all this is explained in the video on, there's a link on the last slide of the slideshow. There's a video explained to it. If I click submit, I get several, and what we're looking into here is the demo journey that is based on session ID and session order. And then basically we get it here, and I just drop it in here. So I have to move away like this window. And so, what you see here is really not what we get. And this is because, well, it's actually not too bad. But Local Studio is not guessing the fields right. So let's fix this. So we have like event, the date range dimension is event date time. The page name, what I want to have is the page path. It's a calculated field. We will go over this later. The event date time is event date time, and the session ID, I want to have session ID. And let me just see where's session ID. Here we go. And then we already get pretty close to what you want to have. I just want to add a filter because not all of these links that are in the data set I actually want to have. And that already comes pretty close. So like from here, it's more like adjusting the style settings. And I just want to show you something. If you want to do this with your own data, what I very often do, I go into a chart that I really like. I copy the chart, I select the new chart, and I go into edit, paste special, paste style only, and it will take all the links from the existing one. I'm just going to refresh the page. This might be like one of the bugs that I have been talking about. So for whatever reason, these two things are. Oh yeah, I think we don't have the link limit. So let's just go into the data and put this link limit in here. So that will increase the link limit, and then we should have the same. So now we get pretty much the same result than we have on top here. And then if you change the link limit on it, it should actually update both visualizations, and we get the same result. All right, so this is basically how you configure the chart, and this is how you can connect like your data with it. So now I just want to go into a couple of settings in this chart here in the style panel that might be interesting for you. First of all, the layout. I think you saw it very quickly in the demo report. You can actually change the layout to exact path. So this basically, what this is doing, it's basically rendering the exact same thing in the sunburst diagram where it really shows, okay, there was someone coming from contact, you went to contact, you went to this page, you went to this page. So that's not very helpful, but there might be, sometimes you might have data sets where you just want to have like an exact row. Then another thing that you can change is the let me just, you can basically, right now, we're not seeing where people are coming in, but you can create kind of like a virtual page that basically shows like the entry pages, where are people coming from. And then you will get like this huge white space here behind like the entry page. And this will tell you, these are all the one-page visits, these are the exit pages. And I can even show, I can type in whatever I want to do here. I can even show the access pages. So now you can see that, like most people that come to my website, they come to the homepage and then they just leave. That's a particular case, but these are the kind of like insights that you can get out of this chart if you change them. I think then what's also important, let me just get rid of these of the entry and the exit pages. So we get like this initial view back, and then these self links. There might be legit. It might be that someone is on the contact page, goes to the menu, clicks on contact again, comes on the same page. It might be also that there are some errors in the way you collect your data. That for some reasons I already saw that GA4 is collecting the same the same page twice, like within a millisecond. So you have to look a little bit into your data and make sure that this is cleaned up. So yeah, so like these blue things, they are self links. Someone went from contact to contact, and if you look into your table, like where a certain session, how they navigated, then you have like this contact page several times. If you don't want to see them, you can just remove them. So there's a self link that you can just check where you can change the color, or you can, I think the gaps at the moment, they don't really work 100%. And you can also, like, if you're confused a bit about what's going in which direction, you can render errors in these visualizations. All right. So these are like the main things, and there are a couple of other things that you can change, but they're all explained in the demo report. Let's go onto the sunburst diagram where we have the page sequences. And there are also a couple of nice things that you can do here. So as we said, this is actually rendering the exact path view of the Sankey diagram. And what's fun here is you can actually you can decide how many what's the depth that you want to show, how many levels you want to show. So like I'm pretty sure they're like very long, they're journeys that go like over 20 pages. So you don't want to have like 20 rings in here. You wanna maybe only have like 4 or 5. And then what you can do, if you think there's something interesting, which is not really the case here, you can zoom into this data and basically go further from here. Yeah. And then you can also change the number of segments you want to show. For example, you say you only want to see like the most important segments, like what are the main categories that they go? Because if you have a big website, then the sunburst diagram at one point, it gets a little bit confused. So like controlling the amount of data that you're actually looking on, like focusing on the important stuff, that's very important. Okay. So let me just see if I did forget anything. Yeah, now let's just look at the other pages that are in here in this report. So this is something I can probably skip until last week. There was a little bug that when you loaded the report for the first time, it forgot the time, and then the order went out of range. So this seems to be fixed. So I'm not going to talk about this. I will know in about a week if this is really fixed or not. So you can now really. I'm just going to go back in the configuration. In here, I have a calculated field, and I convert the date in a string, and then this was my workaround for this bug, and it worked. And it seems not to be necessary anymore. You can just drop the date now into the chart. So let's skip this. Page 4, you have, like, as I said, you have like this query that I was creating for you that you can copy paste into your connector. And the only thing what you have to do is you have to change like the project and the data set. The same thing for the GA4 SQL query. They use like a different kind of technique to get the data out. Here in red, you change your project and your data set. And on the last page, I did I have like all the calculated field that I was using to be like, I do stuff like from the URL, I remove like my domain and that just returns you the calculated path. I was actually using ChatGPT to find these regular expressions. So just emphasizing on Stefan's show. And then there are sometimes, as I said, you might just want to do like the top level path of your website. We're just going to look at this at the Supermetrics website. So there are a couple of calculated fields that might be helpful for you. All right. So I was promising that we'll look into a bigger data set. And so this is a subset for a couple of days, and it's not even complete from the Supermetric website. So as we can see here, these are 10,000 page views that we're looking into. And if I change the, let's just go for the complete year here, this year, and apply. Then I think we're getting up to 20,000 page views. So it is relatively performing. 28,000 page view, and it's showing up. And then there are, of course, and see what I said here. I'm using just the top level path. I'm not looking into pages here. I'm just looking into, like, did people go to the blog? Did they go to the product section? Did they go to the homepage? And again, we can just we could just use a couple of these pages, and then it would just show like the pages that we're looking into. That might be very helpful if you're looking into a funnel. And you could even do stuff like only look into a specific session. So if you just want to know, like, how do users actually, like, do they get more stuck into connectors or products, or you can see the stuff and you can compare, like you can say, like, okay, this country versus this country, you can filter this data to see a little bit if there are differences between the different campaigns. All right. Maybe one thing that might be interesting here is you can also there are different things that you can do, like the vertical order. Maybe that doesn't. Let's just get all the pages back here, and then there are So there we have. I guess we have to just refresh it a little bit so that it's there. There are different ways how to see, there's not even a difference. I guess there are not enough pages. We have to maybe bring this up a little bit. There are different ways how you can render this, and probably you have to wait. It's that the connection might be a little bit too slow at the moment. So there are different ways how you can draw like this layout, so for whatever reason it doesn't want to do this now, but all this is explained in the demo guide. Okay. I'm not going to go, I think we're running a little bit out of time. I'm not going to go into the filter, maybe very quickly. You can use this journey as a filter, which is actually quite nice. You can actually see, okay, someone went from blog to I don't know, like pricing, and then you want to have a little bit more detail into here. And then you can actually use this as a filter. If you want to use this, then there in the setup panel, you basically just click cross filtering, and you need to set the filter value here. And this calculated field is in the report as well. I just explained Data Studio or Local Studio at the moment cannot filter on like 2 dimensions. And what we want to do here, we want to filter on time and on session, and we cannot do this. So I basically create a calculated field where I put like the 2 values together, and then the filtering is working. So this is quite interesting. If you have like a chart on the side, you click on one of the segments, like certain paths that people go, and then you can find out who, not exactly who, but which segments have been used. All right. So that was it pretty much about what you can do to visualize the user journey is something that's very difficult to envision. I think this is not even perfect. This is work in progress. I would really encourage you, like, try it, and if you have problems, contact me over LinkedIn, however you want, and I might help a little bit out if it's not working. And I'm really curious to see how you use this kind of stuff. I would say I'm not even an expert in what actually you can get out of all of this data. I'm just doing the visualization and trying to help you to to get more insight. But yeah, so it would be interesting to me to hear about from you how you used it. Last thing, I have this little just this little text thing here that updates automatically the dates. Maybe you like when I changed here to year, it automatically changes the date. If I just say I want to just have the data from the last 7 days, I'm pretty sure there's nothing. It's not doing anything. But if I do like this this year. And then it will automatically update let me just do February fixed from 1st to go back here. See, that's the presentation mode apply. Then it should it updates it automatically. So this is like a new chart that we just released, and there's a light version on it that you can basically, this is the light version, you have it already in the report, and you can do things with like a templated text. So it's a bit complicated, but there are videos, like there's this demo report that explains everything, and there are 2 videos that show you what you can do with it. There's a tutorial that walks you step by step how you can configure this stuff, and as I said, there's a free version that has like some limited functionalities. But this kind of stuff, like these simple sentences where you can guide the user what you're actually looking at, like you're looking at data from this time frame, and this is the number of pages we have. Or you can have like little on the previous page here, we have like a little note that can automatically read out like how many pages should be in the data set. And so I think that's very helpful. And you find a link also in the slideshow. It's here. The link to the demo report is here, and then there the videos about it. They are in the YouTube playlist, so you can use this. All right. So I'm done. I'm pretty sure well, like there are some questions in the Q&A, and maybe Phil, if you want to help me.
Yes, we've got about 6 minutes for questions, so we're okay. Some fantastic kind of tools and methods on there. I'm gonna there was one question about what does the thickness of the blue ovals mean? So on that kind of custom report that you showed, was that like a metric, or was it?
Yeah. So that's basically the number of steps that people took. So we took like this, I don't know, visits, 200 visits, and you have like 120 people that went from one page to another page. This is like really the amount of traffic that you have in here. And as I mentioned, you can emphasize it. If, for example, you say you want to have show users that actually purchase, or you want to even maybe like the purchase amount in there, you can do it, and then you can actually see, where the money flows, not just the users. So you could do different things, but most of the time it's just one, and with the thickness is the number of users going from one page to another.
Okay. There's Kate's asked a question. I think it's more of a statement than a question, but she's sort of said it'd be good to know how to create these reports in GA4. I think she means in Explorer. For those who don't know how to create it using BigQuery or Looker Studio. I think that they've funnels has come out in GA4, but yeah, I mean we're also kind of forced to use Looker Studio because it's much more flexible in terms of for visualizations. There's someone's asked a question where to find your Looker Studio template. So we'll if you go in after this, go into Kumo Space. We can actually send you can post links in there and people can ask you those questions. And if people fill in the speaker survey form, we're going to put resources and links kind of on the thank you page on that. So we'll put them there. But people can always email you directly, Ralph, to get the link for your slides. And one other question here: do you think Google will ever implement these charts as part of GA? So it's kind of related to the first question, actually. Some other tools have these charts embedded already. Well, I guess maybe.
Well, I'm not Looker Studio, but I know that the strategy that they do with custom visualizations, they probably going to keep this. I mean, they announced a couple of new charts, and there's a Sankey diagram, but this Sankey diagram doesn't do like all the data crunching from page views to Sankey diagrams. So you have to do the data crunching yourself. This is something that I provide with these charts. So I know that hopefully by the end of the year, like these community visualizations will be even better integrated. And I think this is something that other vendors do as well, like Power BI. They do have like a huge amount of third-party suppliers that create visualizations. So I think I hope that the Looker Studio is gonna keep supporting like these visualizations, because there's so much things that can be done. My list is like endless, so it's impossible that one vendor can do that many visualizations that can be required for all markets, for all needs, for everybody that's out there that wants to gain some insights from their data.
Mm-hmm. Great. And I'm just going to jump over to, I'm going to take over presenter control, and hopefully you can see my screen. So as I said, if we've got about a 10-minute kind of window between now and the next talk. So if people want to talk to Ralph directly, if you go into the kind of speakers lounge, which I think now is the default floor, and move left and right up and down buttons to navigate to that. So Chris, if you can just put a link for the GA4 questions, or in fact the ga4.com/networking will also take you there. We've done speaker survey. As I said, if people could submit any feedback or suggestions on that bit.ly link, so we can sort of share that feedback and what people liked and what could be improved. Ralph, I think people are very keen to get access to your templates. So I think I've had like 10 people all ask for the link already. So if you maybe jump over into Como for 10 minutes, people can kind of grab you there. I'll email you the copy of the questions that we didn't answer today, so you could reach out to those people directly as well. Thank you so much for sharing that information and those amazing customizations that you've built.
Okay. Bye-bye, and thanks for having me here.
Yes, thanks.